All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, according to an online source, if you exhibit a heightened sensitivity towards others in everything you do, you have one of the most desired traits of a true leader: the ability to understand a people's complex wants and needs and direct them in a way that's good for all. Requires a certain amount of sensitivity. And this leadership skill should not be overlooked. Leaders who are sensitive make an effort to understand the experiences, perspectives, and emotional needs of their subordinates. Now, the recent happenings in Nigeria, or rather in Nigerian educational vis-a-vis political sector concerning, but not limited to, the unending ASU strike, has posed a clear question on sensitivity and leadership. Are our leaders driven by the plight of the citizens and focused on making their lives better, or are they driven by policies and selfish desires? Right? Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. So I want to bring in our guest in a minute, but I just wanted to hear your thought. I mean, you had dwelled a bit on that. You know, I Googled the word sensitivity, the meaning, right? It says you're quick to detect or respond to slight changes, signals, or influences. Having or displaying a quick and delicate appreciation of other people's feelings, right? I mean, if you look at that word and juxtapose that with the kind of leadership that we have, I mean, it's just a complete failure, in my opinion.
There's no empathy.
That's me. Nothing. But let me hear your thoughts, Elsie, because I've heard a bit of Laide's story.
Yeah. She has a whole story in mind. So, I don't think I'm comfortable with the word sensitivity, because I think being sensitive is just a lot. And I think our government can be sensitive in terms of, you say one on social media, they're reacting. You say this on this, they're reacting. I'd rather use the word empathy.
Empathetic, right?
When you are empathetic, then of course you have the ability to understand and share other people's feeling. And even when you read books on leadership, attend management seminars, management courses and certification, what they hamper on is being empathetic, because that way you can, even if you've not gone through it before, you can put yourself in the other person's shoes and begin to understand how things are done and have bills or policies, depending on what we're talking about, that will make things work. So I know that we need empathetic leaders, and I know that we do not have them. So,
but they keep commiserating with us, don't they?
No. They're always shocked. Commiserate, they're always shocked.
They're shocked at the happenings of so and so.
Yeah.
And they are not sensitive. I mean, when you're talking about ASU strike, that has been a major issue in Nigeria from the times we were in university, and that was well over 2 decades ago, and it's still happening. And then you have sitting governors celebrating their children's graduations
and posting the pictures.
Posting the pictures. And you're thinking, it doesn't really matter to you whether these people get a fair hearing for what they want, because it doesn't affect your generation. So left to you, we can scream as much as we want. We're market noise. As that's what the government tends to see us as, market noise. When they shout, I will do my time, I will go. When your president can be saying, oh, I've done what I can for you.
What was that English he said? He got to go.
He got to go.
I can't wait to go and rest.
That will pain me. He reached my goal.
Isn't he the same person
it's really that tough? Why didn't he resign? Why hasn't he resigned? I mean, you could have done that last term. You know
what?
He replaced the CGN, didn't he? Next thing, his daughter is getting married to
the ex.
I mean, they're just using us like
catch cruise.
They're using us to just their pockets.
Chinonso Clark is a writer, lawyer, social entrepreneur, and leadership development strategist. She is executive director of Song Africa, a non-profit organization committed to equipping youth for public leadership geared towards the transformation of communities and nations in Africa. With several years of experience in the development sector, she has led high-performing teams and implemented several initiatives positively contributing to the social and economic empowerment of women, men, and children within Africa. Her academic and leadership background includes credentials in international commercial law at master's degree level from the Robert Gordon University, Aberdeen, senior partnership at a corporate law firm, and a media agency, as well as various leadership courses from the Lagos Business School. And she's joined us live. Ah, yeah, I think you felt like clapping. She's joined us live in studio. She's no stranger to ways, but she's not been here.
She's a veteran.
She's a veteran member. But thank you so much, Chinonso.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to
have
this conversation this evening.
Absolutely. And I think it's a good way to have this conversation because, sometimes people, when we talk about these things, I hear Elsie a lot about empathetic leaders. But you see, the truth is there's sensitivity that can gear towards positive, towards negative, right?
Yeah.
That's my thought, right? A lot of times we see that our leaders are a bit touchy when it comes to things that really hits home, when we send them the home truth and all of that. But you know what? The conversation today is about, the importance of sensitivity. When you're doing anything that has to do with, right, governing people or overseeing the affairs of people, how important is that word, sensitivity, to, governance or leadership, right?
Yeah, so one of the first things I'll start with, just following to the conversation that you've all been having, is that a lot of our leaders are not prepared for the office that they eventually find themselves in. So you find that they have different reasons why they go into leadership positions. So some people, like you said, just to oil their pockets, some people because they were nominated by somebody. And so you find that they're always clueless when they get in. But I always say that leadership starts with personal responsibility. How am I leading myself, and how do I want to lead other people? What character do I also want to portray so that other people can get a sense of the fact that I care for them? I think at the heart of leadership is love. I don't know. That's what I think, and I say it all the time. Any
kind of love.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really think that we need to start. I say it all the time. When we care for one another, let's even look at how we drive on the road. Let's start from there. So before even pointing fingers at government, because government is a reflection of the people. That's it. Government is a reflection of the people. So how can we begin to look out for one another? Let's start from there. Then in our own spaces, but when we start looking out for one another, then the government can see that these people have decided, solidarity is all we're pushing now. Let's, speak up, care for one another, even from your business, as little as be your brother's keepers, as little as that. And once we are able to push that narrative, people can begin to understand when they go into leadership positions, what am I going to do that's going to bring about change, that's going to affect the life of the next person? It's that simple. For leaders, for instance, let's say you go into government, because we know that the problems of Nigeria is very complex. Let's not even lie.
Is it?
It is, because think about the tribes. How many people do we have?
It is because, quite frankly,
because it is.
We've made it so complex. Yeah. And if you think about how you can quickly bring about change, it would take, because there are layers. We're talking about layers of corruption, decade of corruption. Do you understand? So, how can we? Pick. I say when a person goes into power, identify maybe 3 sectors that you want to focus on. I know I've gone all around, but you want to focus on education, electricity, and then ensure that you have capable hands. All right, and let's talk about the sensitivity aspect. You have to make the citizens feel like you care about them. Look at this flood situation we're going through in Lagos, for instance. I was thinking to myself yesterday, what has our governor said about this thing that we're going through? I think it was yesterday evening. Okay, I'm on TV, I don't want to say. Okay. So things like that. The truth is that leadership starts with love and caring for other people. And it's not caring for them based on what you can get from them. It's actually genuinely caring for them. So selflessness. How many of us are selfless? Look at you. You've been talking about custom, what you're going through with custom. How did we even get there? Do you understand how are you supposed to pay that amount for just? Yeah, do you understand? So
gifts are usually tax-free everywhere else.
So I really feel that once we begin to take responsibility as individuals, really, let's start from our own space. Let's just look for maybe someone you know, someone in your space.
The watchword of leadership should be acts of service.
Yes.
If they
Selflessness.
understood that they were there to be service leaders,
Yes.
to stay there
Servant
and
leaders.
Servant leaders.
to stay there and impact
Yes.
people's lives positively.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody sees that as that, because even looking at the candidates we have for presidency, most of their statements keep sipping out that you understand that in their minds, they had made up their minds that the goals that I have in my life, yes, the goals I have in my life is that it must be written on my tombstone that I was once a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yeah.
That is the thing they're focused on. Not that, I think that we've made a mess of this country, and I feel I have something to offer to help the next generation to move forward.
No, the campaign is
It
starting
never
in
comes out of
September.
them.
Don't worry, they will talk about it.
Let's take a break.
What did you say?
When we come back from the break, we'll continue this amazing conversation. Stay with us. No, if you just tune in, we're discussing the topic, how important is sensitivity in leadership, and we have Chinonso Clark with us. Now please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. Elsie, over to you.
I like how you said that so many of our leaders find themselves in roles that they are not prepared for. And it takes me back to conversations that I've had over and over again in terms of us not even having a proper leadership grooming school or platforms in this part of the world, right? So is there ever going to be a quick fix? Like, how do we even begin to, so you found yourself in that office, right? How can you begin to train yourself to become a good leader or become the right leader? You know, can we ever have anything like that? Because if, like you said, it's complex, right? If you're saying you want a change, I mean, a few people will go in to try to make a change, and then when you are swimming in an ocean of corrupt people, I don't know how much change you can make, right?
Yes.
So what can we do?
Well, so when it comes to the subject of training, right, we have, for instance, Song Africa, we have programs for public leaders, and we've done some work with some state governments where we've looked at what they're doing and sort of giving advice. And then we have a curriculum that we've created, an international faculty has created. So we look at leadership and governance, we look at history, continuity, culture, and legacy. That's one of the courses that we have. We also have policy planning and implementation, because you agree with me that one of the challenges that we have is that we create policies, but we're not able to implement them.
Never no continuity.
You understand? Exactly. So we have all of those courses, and we have a program. People, I mean, you just need to commit to developing yourself. There's also the SPPG, the School of Policy, Politics and Governance, that Obi Ezekwesili runs as well.
Sorry, so this curriculum you talked about now, where is it being adapted? Are we looking at ways to push it into our universities, or is it just still
Every level of government.
Well,
Yeah.
well, so what we're doing, quick fix, is to work with public leaders. So we have people that where we've worked with, like I said, in one of the states, a state government. We're also working with people like in the National Assembly, House of Assembly, state level as well, because that's the quickest way to get things to train people, right? And it's also easy, affordable.
Are you seeing the impact, or you're just
It's
training?
gradual. It's gradual. You know, it's like a journey.
back
I
to
think it's
you.
a marathon. It's a marathon. You just have to one step at one step at a time. So we have this program. We also have I say SPPG as well. Obi Ezekwesili, she has a training program, and we've done some work together. We did a training at the RCTG camp sometime earlier this year. So these are some means through which public leaders can actually get developed and prepare themselves for public leadership. I'm not ashamed to say that I love what Banky is doing. You can see Banky has gone to, get some, he's running, and he's going to get educated, because if you don't have knowledge, you go there and there's no much change you can make, you understand? So,
Sorry, before you go on here, I just want to tell you a very, very short story. So, because of the story I'm going to tell, I'm not going to mention the school, but if you've been watching with, probably know the school I'm attending at the moment.
Okay.
So, one of the facilitators or the coordinators was telling us something about their passion and how they want to, their aim is to actually produce leaders for Nigeria, right? In every sector that they have courses and programs in, right? And they approached our government at a time to train these people on leadership and all that comes with leadership. And of course, there was a budget because you have to pay for it. But the budget was not crazy.
It was not the exact
it
thing
was
they
just,
charge.
and it wasn't a case of inflated budget or anything. It's just, we're training 100 people, and this is how much it's going to cost based on our accommodation, per diem, and everything. And at the end of the day, they turned it down because there was no way to inflate the budget. And the people who finally got the project, of course, put the money in billions and millions, and nothing came out of it. No training happened.
Yeah, because I was just
because they see it as an opportunity to give one another pocket money.
The impact.
I was going to say to Nonso that it's not for lack of training or all these things, so because I know for a fact that a lot of state governments, they do trainings, they organize different trainings. It is that word that you had mentioned earlier, implementation. So it's not about the training, because when it comes to training and all of that, trust me, government people they attend training for Africa.
But they actually tend to see it as a way to get pocket money per person. Because they say they want to do etiquette training and everything. Most of the problem with most leaders or most people is that innately they're not good people. Innately they're not good people. They don't have a heart of service. They don't have a heart of empathy. They don't have a heart for humanity. All they want to do is achieve and have it there as a star on their shoulders. Nothing to do with how it's going to affect you or
and I think that's really the core of our problem. I don't know if you've seen the story of this very, apologies if it's wrong language, brief man that he got a house for on social media. Although he's talking a lot now and it's funny, right? But before he started misyanning, remember he was talking about how much he's being paid as an actor.
Parole,
and it hurts me, not because it's my family or anything, but those movies that he was being featured in, they made money. If we have the
and then you pay him as little as 5,000
and you care about your fellow man, this man shows up. At least the little movies that I've seen him in, of course, maybe by chance that I stumble on it and you know, oh, it's funny, and you move, right? There are markets for it, even though I'm not the audience, but there are markets for it. He does his role right, and you have the guts to really pay him just 5,000 naira. Even if he has not polished himself.
Okay, now you say for someone like him now, he's beginning to miss
that's to tell you that we as a people, whenever we see the opportunity to take advantage of our fellow citizen, our fellow brothers and sisters, we will not let it go. We'll take advantage of it
explain to
completely.
Me. When you say he has started misyanning,
the one who said he wants to marry virgin in Israel.
Okay, so he's beginning to feel himself.
Of course.
Which is what leaders tend to do.
Yeah, so
when they get to those positions, they start feeling themselves, I'm an untouchable.
I want to tie a question to what she had just said. Now. Because we know that selflessness, right? Love. You talked about the heart of the heart of leadership is love, right? And selflessness. Selflessness and love it cannot be learned, right? It's something that has to be from within. It has to come from within. So, should we give up on this current generation and start to find, yes, because I don't think you can actually start to a full-grown person, start to teach them how to become selfless and how to, except maybe you tell me there's a formula for that. That's one. And how do we start to inculcate that heart of love and selflessness in the future generation? Because I believe that there's still hope, you know, to infusing that for a better nation.
Why I smiled was because I was thinking, before you asked me the question, I was going to say that we need to take responsibility for the next generation. And the quickest way that we can teach is by modeling the habits that we want them to learn. So that's why I say that it boils down to us as individuals. What are you doing? How are you teaching? Because the more is caught than taught. So when they look at you, your actions, if you have, for instance, maybe a nanny or someone, a domestic staff who comes into the house to do stuff and goes, how do you treat them? How do you talk to them? How do they see you treat other people, even your children, right? How do your children see you treat other people? That's why I strongly believe that we need to go back to the family unit. What are we teaching our kids? What are we modeling for our kids to see? You know, what are the values that we're showing them that are responsible for a better society? Are we money driven? Are we status driven? So the situation we find ourselves now in Nigeria is like a moral failure, right? Everywhere you look at it, this leadership is a moral failure. So how can we personally take it as a responsibility that, okay, after today we are watching, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to portray something that people, or a character that people can see, right? And they want to imbibe as, you know, this is who I want to be. I work with a lot of young people, and every time they tell me, oh, Mrs. Nonso, when I see myself in the future, I want to be like you. It's like a sense of responsibility for me. It puts me on my toes, that I must ensure that I portray something that they will take and, you know, imbibe because they're watching. Yeah. So all of us, we need to identify, what are your personal values as a person? Are you someone of integrity? Are you someone who would be faced with a contract and you don't want to cut corners? Are you someone who will go into public leadership and you will think of benefiting just your family, your auntie, your cousin, nephew, your entire generation, right? So these are the things that we need to go back to. And
go ahead.
And from here, from this space of personal leadership, modeling personal leadership, identifying our values as individuals and sticking to our values regardless of what the cost may be. Let's not be afraid, because a lot of us are afraid of people. I don't know if you saw this video, maybe I shouldn't talk about it here, but there's a video now online talking about a past governor, right? And I was thinking to myself, she was really bold for her to say all the things that she said. So a lot of us are sometimes, because we want to fit in, because we don't want people to see us as a misfit, we want to belong. Yes, we want to belong and we want to conform. But if a few of us say, okay, no, I'm not going to do what other people are doing. I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to stick to my values. I'm going to portray integrity. I'm going to talk to people well. I'm going to be compassionate in how I speak to other people. Even when I drive, have you seen the road rage? It's crazy.
The wickedness in letting people pass.
So that is one
if
part.
we start from that place, there will be a change.
Yes.
Traffic.
Understanding that if a car enters your front, the road will not close.
Exactly.
That is one thing that people need to
Yeah, so that's one aspect, right? In modeling for the young generation. Do you still have hope that for the existing leaders that we have, is there a way that we can begin to prick their conscience? You know, to just say, you know what, at some point you have to get to that level where you become a lot more sensitive. So when the president made that statement that he's eager to leave office, I felt offended. I felt offended because I don't think he understood the gravity of that statement that he made. You cannot take 8 years of my life, keep me on a standstill position, and wake up and say, I cannot wait to leave.
You guys handle yourselves.
Do you understand? So if our leaders are not sensitive enough to understand that these things are deeper than just their selfish interest, is there a way we can begin to hold them accountable, or probably maybe prick their consciences or something? Is it possible?
Well, when we tried to, they started killing our youths and our kids at the toll gate. Isn't that a classic case of trying to hold them responsible and trying to tell them that you are not sensitive to our issues, that we're being oppressed by policemen? I'm talking about the NSAS protest. That was an attempt to call attention to the issues we had, hoping that they would come to the table.
Is it possible we didn't do it right?
What else could we have done? Because it was peaceful. What else could we have done? They are not ready to listen to us. They've seen us as some animals are more equal than others.
I don't think are we speaking the right language?
What other language are we to speak?
I like the responsibility they are giving to us.
We've spoken the Wazobia language. We've cried, we've pleaded, we've asked them.
Back to what you said in terms of someone coming out to say, I can't wait to leave. It's something you would also never hear from someone who has gone through trainings and understand what leadership is. Even if that's how you feel, because I know there are roles we are in as managers of a company or whatever, you feel like, oh, more, I'm ready to go, right? You can't say that. You want to start using words like, it's an honor to have been able to serve this country that you ran for. How many times did this man run?
He attempted 3 times.
3 times. And the 4th time you got in. And then
like they will return you back to Ibadan. Go ahead.
Those are the kind of words that should be coming out from you to say, finally, it's an honor to serve this country that I've always wanted to serve all my life, right? In fact, he can use those words because he was in the military, he's done it before, he's doing it again in the civil rule and everything. But because they still do not understand what modeling, like you said, is, they don't understand what communication is, they don't understand what leadership is. Love is an alien word for them. Everybody just throw the word love around. Do they even understand what love is? That's why anybody that is a president of a country will open their mouths to say
such a thing.
I'm eager to.
When you have people that are captains
let's allow
of
our
ships,
guests.
and they tell you that if a ship is sinking, the captain gives up his life, not because he doesn't have an opportunity of being saved, but he goes down with the ship. It's two
things. It's either he makes sure that the entire ship is evacuated,
when
and
he
he's the
does,
last
that's
person,
what I'm saying.
And if he's not able to leave last, he dies
sinks with the
Yeah.
ship. But they don't see it as in it's if I perish with you. We must get it right. I have a comment for our comments.
Yeah, quickly then our guest will get the final words.
Our very special regular fan. He says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #ways. The topic is how important is sensitivity in leadership. There are two words here, sensitivity and being clueless. Our government is clueless and selfish and not sensitive. If they are truly sensitive, they will meet the demands of ASU and this long strike will be over. The president is only concerned about the strike ending, but he is not concerned about meeting their demands. Your guest made mention of a very important point. She said that good leadership is based on genuine love and care for the people and nothing more, and that it is very key to good leadership. My dear beautiful sister Elsie, you are welcome back. We missed you a lot. My name is Daniel.
Hey.
Regular fan.
I'm
He's
going
to
again.
get an award.
Thank you for welcoming me, Daniel.
And she's going back again. But
Abi.
you know, so if you had some things to say about, you know, like in summing it up, right? I don't want to lose hope that there's no way for the existing structure. What can we do? And how do we move on from here? Because whether we like it or not, we still have these leaders with us for a very long time, before even the new generation will spring forth. And again, because they're already modeling this kind of leadership with the new generation, how will this circle break? So,
well, the first word or phrase that comes to my mind is revolution requires sacrifice. So when we think about like the Martin Luthers of the world and other people who champion change and caused that like an eruption in the social justice system, they had to lay their lives down. You know, they had to forgo some comfort. So I feel like the place we are in at the moment, we need a revolution in Nigeria. We do need a revolution, and that revolution will require a lot of sacrifice. And for the next generation, I really believe that we can start modeling proper leadership from our families, our businesses. How do we run our businesses so that we show our employees that we care? Because you hear stories about toxic work culture, and it's the same thing we're complaining about the government that we see sometimes in the workplace. So how can we as individuals, for those who say, okay, we need to become self-aware, what are you doing and how are you living in a way that you're, modeling leadership, proper leadership that is full of love, that cares about the next person, leadership that also allows the younger people to express themselves because they want to express themselves as well. A lot of older people do not give younger people the opportunity to express themselves. So these are some of the things that we need to start thinking about. And each of us, let's make a commitment to ourselves. What am I going to do differently? How can I change the narrative of what's being said in media? It's a personal responsibility. I really believe it's a personal responsibility. We shouldn't keep pointing to the other people. Me, myself, and I ensure that within your space, the people you interact with on a daily basis, when you're driving, I'm so particular about this driving. Be patient. When you even go to the mall, when you pull out a cart, put it back. Put it back. Don't just leave it on the driveway because people will. It can cause. Do you understand? So as little as how you talk to the attendants, or don't shout at people. These are like basic things that we don't. If you think about it, Nigerians can be angry, and we know that they are angry because of the tension and everything that is going on in the society. So those are my last words. Everyone, begin to take personal responsibility. Don't leave it. Yeah, treat people with kindness. I know it's difficult.
The statement seems so grand and lovely to hear, but it's palatable to the ears. But the point is,
one is, let's start with the palms. Please, where are we supposed to put the cards?
You put it back. You take it back.
Where you took it from?
There are places
the
by
place
the
by the-
cars
yes,
that they
where-
actually
yeah.
provide
Okay,
for you
yeah,
to
no, I
Yes,
put
assemble.
you
it
can
there.
assemble,
That's the
yes,
place to
exactly.
assemble.
Some
Okay, I think you're saying I should roll it back
No,
into
some
the-
people just leave it. They
People
just
leave
leave
it
Oh,
and then
really?
it rolls and
Okay, then
you know,
secondly, you
crashes into
mentioned
your car.
revolution.
Yes.
Right. And that word, you know, if we're going to, when you're saying Martin Luther King, unfortunately time is gone. Who is going to be that, or who are the group of people? Like, how is that going to happen? Because even when you see people that come out as activists, give it 2-3 years,
Frustrates them.
you realize, not frustrated, no, you realize that they were doing it for their own
For
selfish
publicity
reasons.
to be seen.
And when the attention goes away from them, it becomes a problem. It's like, we are taking food away from my mouth. So how exactly do we even begin to identify with these people and support them? Because regardless, they need support. But they all, I'm not even mentioning, and there's no one that can mention today and say, yes, this person was fighting for Nigeria. There's nobody. So how do we start from there?
Well, I know there's still some people in the background who are doing stuff,
In the
right?
background.
Yes, in the background who are doing what they can do. But one of the things is that we must always ensure that our motives are right? Even as individuals.
They say test all spirits.
Yeah. Why exactly? Why are you doing? I always ask myself this question: why am I doing what I'm doing? Am I doing it to manipulate the other person, or am I doing it for a selfish
I want to blow.
reason? Or I want
We're
to
saying
blow?
that people will say these things and make it sound really sweet to your ears. When they're campaigning, when they're running for government, they would, I mean,
So I was telling you that
everybody
campaign
knows what
starts
to
in
say
September.
to entice anybody to assume that they have your best interest at heart. When push comes to shove, they will show their true colors.
Campaign starts in September.
Is it September? I thought that started
End of
already.
September. No, the real campaign.
But I mean, one thing I always encourage everyone: don't give up hope.
Not giving up.
Don't give up hope. Still, because if we hope, I'm sorry to use this word. I'm not sorry, but hope lost is heart. Something different. Like it makes the heart sick. Hope lost makes the heart
I say
sick.
it in Yoruba.
Hope loss makes the heart sick. So when you lose hope, you'll be so discouraged, right? You would also lose like the essence of life, zeal to live life. So I tell everybody now, guard your heart.
Do not lose hope.
In Nigeria. Let's keep trusting.
Don't lose hope.
Don't
Somebody
lose
wanted to
hope.
hold that.
I don't know that I should say sorry on behalf
Don't
of
lose
us.
hope.
Don't lose hope in Nigeria. We're not losing. We're not losing hope, and we will just keep trusting.
194,000. Ringing in her ears. After hope, I will still go and pay these taxes to collect
Yeah,
my
but
goods.
don't lose hope. Don't
But
lose hope.
thank you so much, Chinonso. I think we had a fantastic conversation. Thank you, Elsie. Thank you, Lady. Now, before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, invite your families and friends to watch, and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Many leaders don't listen. It is one of the greatest methods we have of learning. You need to listen to those under your supervision and to those who are above you. I think it's a very apt quote. We'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Bye.